Morning sunlight spilled through the Mitchells' glass kitchen like honey over porcelain. Laura said softly, "Emma, did you sleep?" But her stepdaughter only nodded, eyes locked on her phone. Something about the faint smile Emma tried to hide made Laura's stomach twist. "Who are you texting so early?" she asked. "Just a friend," Emma murmured. But who was Jake? And why did the message vanish the moment Laura glanced closer? The air thickened with the scent of burnt toast and unease. Daniel strode in, coffee in hand, his tone clipped. "Everything all right here?" he asked, eyes darting between them. Emma slipped out the door, and Laura noticed the faintest shimmer of a photo corner sticking from Emma's bag, an image of her with a stranger's shadow beside her. Laura froze. How long had they been living two lives under one roof? If love built their family, what was it hiding? Her heartbeat thundered as she pulled the photo free, revealing Emma in someone's arms, not Daniel's. Laura sat in her car outside the grocery store, the photo on the passenger seat. "He looks older," she whispered. The stranger's arm around Emma's waist haunted her. Her mind raced. How could Daniel not notice? Or had he? When she returned home, Daniel was in his study, sketching blueprints, jaw tight. "You've been quiet," he said without looking up. "Long day," Laura answered. Every sound, the pencil scratch, the clock tick, pressed against her nerves. She wanted to ask him about Jake, but bit her tongue. Upstairs, Emma's laughter drifted from her room, soft and secretive. Laura's reflection in the hallway mirror looked like a stranger, someone about to step into a lie bigger than she imagined. That night, Laura couldn't sleep. Daniel's rhythmic breathing beside her felt rehearsed, not restful. She reached for her phone, scrolling through Emma's social feed, finding nothing newer than 2 weeks. "Why hide him?" she whispered to the dark. A sudden buzz. A text from an unknown number. You shouldn't have taken it. Her hand froze. She turned toward Daniel. He hadn't moved. Heart pounding, she crept downstairs. The kitchen light flickered on by itself, or maybe she imagined it. The photo was gone from the table. The next morning, Laura searched the kitchen drawers, but the photo was nowhere. Looking for something, Daniel's voice sliced through the quiet. "Just my keys," she lied. He smiled faintly. "You should trust people more." His tone chilled her. Emma entered, hair damp from a shower, humming softly. Laura watched her, trying to read her face. "Everything okay?" Laura asked. "Better than ever," Emma said, and left for class. Laura's hands trembled as she pressed against the counter, realizing both Emma and Daniel might be hiding something, and she was the only one in the dark. That afternoon, Laura met Sarah at a quiet cafe. "You look pale," Sarah said. "Something's wrong." Laura slid the photo's empty sleeve across the table. "It's gone," she whispered. "Daniel knows." Sarah frowned. "Do you think he took it?" Laura hesitated. Or Emma warned him. Outside the window, rain began to fall, streaking glass like tears. "Be careful, Laura," Sarah said. "Secrets have a way of crawling out when you least expect them." Laura stared into the reflection of the street, and in it thought she saw a familiar face watching from across the road. The storm that night rattled the windows like a warning. Laura stood at the hallway corner, listening to Emma's muffled voice through her door. "I miss you too," Emma whispered. Silence followed, then laughter. Light. Dangerous. Laura's pulse climbed. She crept closer, the old wooden floor betraying a faint creak. The voice on the other end was male, soft but firm. "Tomorrow, same place," he said, and the line clicked dead. Laura backed away before Emma opened the door, face flushed. "Were you listening?" Emma snapped. "I was just passing by," Laura said. The girl's eyes narrowed. Not guilty, but frightened. Laura realized then this wasn't just rebellion. It was fear wrapped in love. Morning came dull and heavy. Laura sat at the breakfast table pretending to read, watching Daniel scroll through his phone. "You're up early," he said. "Couldn't sleep," she murmured. When Emma appeared, she avoided both their gazes. "Study group," she mumbled, grabbing keys. Laura caught a glimpse of Daniel's reflection in the glass door. Sharp, suspicious. "You've been tense lately," he said as soon as Emma left. "Is it about her?" Laura met his eyes. "Should it be?" He smiled without warmth. "Don't start something you can't finish." His words lingered long after the door shut. Later that day, Laura followed Emma's car discreetly. The rain had stopped, but the roads shimmered like mirrors. Emma parked near the abandoned riverside warehouse, the one Daniel once used as a studio. Laura stayed back, watching as a young man emerged from behind the gate, Jake Rivers. His hand brushed Emma's cheek, and she leaned in, relief flooding her face. Laura's chest constricted. She snapped a photo through her windshield. Proof of the secret she didn't want to own. Then Jake turned, as if sensing her gaze, his eyes locking directly with hers across the distance. That evening, Laura confronted Emma the moment she stepped through the door. "Where were you?" she demanded. Emma froze, water dripping from her umbrella. "I told you, study group." Laura held up her phone, displaying the photo she took. Emma's breath hitched. "You followed me? Who is he?" Laura pressed. "Someone you wouldn't understand," Emma whispered. Then Daniel appeared behind them. "What's going on?" Laura hid the phone instinctively. "Nothing," Emma said quickly, running upstairs. Daniel's eyes lingered on Laura. "You're hiding something too," he said quietly. Later, Laura confided in Sarah over the phone. "She's seeing someone," Laura said. "Jake Rivers, the intern Daniel fired last year." Sarah's sharp intake of breath crackled through the line. "Didn't Daniel say Jake stole from him?" Laura hesitated. "He never showed proof." Sarah lowered her voice. "Be careful, Laura. You're walking through a web." Laura's gaze shifted to Daniel's. Old work bag near the coat rack. The zipper was open, and inside, half hidden beneath papers, lay a photo badge. Jake's name printed on it, the same one Daniel claimed to have destroyed. Laura waited for Emma to come home, the badge burning a hole in her palm. When Emma finally entered, soaked from the drizzle, Laura stepped forward. "I know about Jake," she said quietly. Emma's eyes widened, then softened with defeat. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she whispered. "He's not what Dad said." Laura's heart twisted. "He is Daniel's intern. He's trouble." "No, he's the only one who ever listened," Emma cried. Laura froze at the word only. "Did he tell you what Daniel did to him?" Laura asked. Emma hesitated, tears gathering. "He said your husband ruined his family." The truth stung sharper than betrayal. Daniel entered mid-confrontation. "What's this about Jake?" he asked, voice tight. Emma spun around, startled. "You ruined his father's life," she shouted. Daniel's face darkened. "That boy's a liar. You fired him for stealing," Laura said, trembling. "But his father lost everything because of you." Daniel's tone hardened. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Then tell us," Laura demanded. Silence filled the space like smoke. Emma backed away, crying, "You'll never let anyone love me." Before running upstairs, the echo of her door slam cut through them like a blade. Laura found Emma's door locked. "Please talk to me," she pleaded. No reply. A soft sob echoed from within. She sank to the floor, clutching the badge. Daniel's footsteps retreated down the hall, his silence a threat in itself. Laura whispered, "I'll fix this." Unsure for whom, her stepdaughter or herself. Moments later, her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "If you want the truth, meet me tomorrow, alone." The sender, Jake. The next morning, Laura met Jake in the old Riverside Park. The fog, clung low, softening the ruins of the past. "You shouldn't have called me," she said. Jake's eyes were red, his expression weary. "You deserve to know why Daniel hates me." He handed her a folded letter. "My father was his partner. Daniel stole our designs and blamed us for fraud. My dad," his voice cracked. "He didn't survive it." Laura's breath caught. "He didn't survive it." The letter trembled in her hands, Daniel's signature stamped at the bottom. Jake looked away. "I never meant to hurt Emma." "She's innocent," Laura whispered. "We all were." That night, Laura returned home, the letter hidden in her purse. Daniel sat in the study, sketching as if nothing had changed. "You met him, didn't you?" he said, without looking up. "Who?" she asked, voice trembling. He smiled faintly. "You think secrets can stay buried forever?" Laura stepped closer. "I know what you did to his father." His pencil stopped mid-line. "Then you know why I can't let that boy near my daughter." "Your daughter loves him," Laura whispered. Daniel's eyes lifted, colder than glass. "Then she'll lose him the same way his father lost everything." Laura couldn't sleep. The letter lay open on her desk like an open wound. Daniel's forged signature glared under the lamplight. She replayed Jake's words. He didn't survive it. Her breath shook as she slipped the letter into an envelope, locking it in her drawer. A faint sound startled her. Daniel's footsteps outside her door. She froze. The knob turned slightly, then stopped. His shadow lingered, patient, deliberate. When it retreated, Laura knew. He already suspected her. The walls of her home no longer felt like protection, but like a cage lined with secrets waiting to collapse. The next morning, Laura told Sarah everything. "He forged documents, Sarah. Jake's father lost everything." Sarah's jaw tightened. "You need to leave before he finds out you know." But Laura shook her head. "I can't. Emma still trusts him." Sarah leaned closer. "Then make her see." Laura nodded faintly, but her hands trembled. When she returned home, Daniel was in the garden, pruning roses like nothing was wrong. "You look pale," he said. "Night?" Laura forced a smile, the letter burning in her purse. Beneath the calm surface, their marriage was a battlefield, disguised as breakfast conversation. Laura waited until Emma returned from class. "I need you to listen," she said gently, handing her the letter. Emma unfolded it, her brow furrowing. "What is this?" "Proof that your father destroyed Jake's family," Laura whispered. Emma's eyes widened as she read Daniel's signature. "No, he wouldn't." "He did," Laura said softly. "He's been lying for years." Tears welled in Emma's eyes, disbelief warring with love. "Then why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I didn't know until now." The letter slipped from Emma's trembling hand, fluttering to the floor. The sound quieter than heartbreak. When Daniel came home, Emma confronted him instantly. "Did you ruin Jake's father?" she demanded. Daniel froze. "Who told you that?" "Mom showed me the letter." His gaze turned toward Laura. "Cold, accusing. You went behind my back. You lied to us," she snapped. "You made him the villain," Daniel's voice thundered. "I did what I had to destroy a man," Emma cried. Daniel slammed his fist against the table, shattering a glass. Laura flinched but didn't back down. "You can't keep her safe by killing the truth." Silence followed, sharp and suffocating. That night, Laura couldn't find Emma. Her room was empty, window open, curtains fluttering in cold air. On the desk lay a note. "I need to know the truth for myself." Laura grabbed her coat, but Daniel stood in the doorway, blocking her path. "She'll come back," he said, "not if she finds Jake first." His eyes darkened. "Then maybe she deserves to see what kind of man he really is." Laura's voice broke. "You can't mean that." He stepped closer, whispering, "You've already chosen your side." His shadow fell over her like a closing door. Rain lashed against the house as Laura dialed Emma's number again. No answer. Her mind raced with images of the girl wandering alone through the city, clutching the letter. Daniel watched from his study doorway. "You can't save her from herself," he said coldly. Laura turned on him, tears mixing with fury. "You built this prison." He smirked faintly. "I built a family. You broke it." A thunderclap drowned her reply. In that instant, she realized she wasn't just fighting for Emma. She was fighting to reclaim her own truth from the man who twisted it. Laura drove through the downpour toward the riverside, headlights slicing through sheets of water. She spotted Emma's car near the warehouse. Inside, through the haze, she saw two figures, Emma and Jake. Emma was crying, Jake holding her shoulders. Laura ran toward them, rain soaking her through. "We have to leave," she said. "Your father? He already knows," Jake interrupted. His face was pale. "He called me. Said he'd finish what he started." Emma clung to Laura. "He's coming here," she whispered. The roar of thunder swallowed their fear as distant headlights cut through the fog. Daniel's car screeched to a stop, its lights flooding the figures by the warehouse gate. He stepped out, soaked but composed, voice sharp as steel. "Get away from her, Jake." Jake stood his ground. "You destroyed my father." "You won't destroy me? You think I care about your sob story?" Daniel barked. Laura stepped between them. "Enough," she shouted. "It ends tonight." Daniel's eyes burned into hers. "You're protecting the wrong person." "No," she said, trembling but resolute. "I'm protecting what's left of us." The rain intensified, lightning flaring, illuminating the moment truth finally broke free. Daniel lunged forward, shoving Jake. "You don't belong here," he roared. Jake stumbled but didn't strike back. "You already took everything. You won't take her too." Daniel's rage cracked something deeper. "She's my daughter," he shouted. Emma cried out. "You're not acting like one." Laura grabbed Daniel's arm. "Stop before you destroy her completely." He looked at her then. Truly looked. And the fury faltered. For a brief second, guilt flickered behind his eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it came. He stepped back, breathing hard. If she walks away now, she's no longer my child. Sirens wailed in the distance as Emma pulled away from Daniel's glare. "I can't stay here," she whispered. Laura nodded, tears mixing with rain. "Go. Be safe." Emma hugged her tight, then turned to Jake. They ran toward the main road as flashing lights approached. Daniel stood motionless, staring after them. "You've turned her against me," he said quietly. Laura met his gaze. "You did that yourself." Police lights reflected across his face, blue, cold, unflinching. As the rain eased, Laura realized the storm hadn't ended. It had simply moved inside her heart. By dawn, Emma and Jake were gone. The police took statements, but their tone hinted disbelief. A runaway couple, not a case of danger. Laura sat at the kitchen table, clutching a cold cup of coffee. Daniel, pale and silent, stared out the window. "She'll come back," he muttered. Laura didn't believe it. Her eyes drifted to the empty chair Emma had once filled. "You drove her away," she whispered. He turned slowly, voice hollow. "I protected her." She rose. "No. You protected your lies." Outside, sunlight bled weakly through the gray clouds. A new day had already felt broken. Days passed. The police called with no leads. Laura began to search herself, retracing Emma's steps. At Emma's room, she noticed something she hadn't before. A series of printed photos pinned behind the mirror. Each captured small, quiet places. A bridge, a field, a crumbling house. One picture stood out. The abandoned home Daniel once owned near the river. Her breath caught. She whispered, "Emma, What were you trying to tell me? She packed a flashlight and the letter, leaving Daniel asleep. The road outside glistened under the fading rain, leading her straight into the truth's shadow. The abandoned house groaned under the wind's breath. Laura stepped inside, flashlight beams sweeping over peeling wallpaper and forgotten frames. Her heart thudded as she found a stack of old blueprints labeled with Daniel's name, and another signature, Michael Rivers, Jake's father. Her hand trembled. The partnership Daniel destroyed had begun here. Then, a faint click echoed behind her. The front door closing. I knew you'd come. Daniel's voice said from the dark. Laura spun around, the light trembling in her grasp. His face emerged from the shadow, calm, resolved. It's time you understand why I did it. Daniel gestured to the blueprints. He stole from me first, he said quietly. I built everything. He just took the credit. Laura's voice trembled. So you framed him? I corrected a mistake. And his son? Collateral damage? He said, almost regretful. She shook her head. You let a man die for your pride. His eyes softened for a fleeting moment. I lost control. But Emma? She reminded me of before everything went wrong. So you punished her for his sins? Laura asked. I was trying to save her from him. His words cracked under their own weight, revealing the man behind the monster. Suddenly, movement upstairs. Footsteps, light, a voice. Mom! Laura's heart leapt. Emma stood on the landing, soaked, shaking. Jake behind her, pale but alive. We found your letter, Emma said. We came here because we knew you would too. Daniel stared at them both, speechless. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. Neither should you, Laura replied. The silence that followed was thick with decades of deception. Then Daniel turned away, his voice faint. Maybe now you'll finally understand me. He walked into the dark room beyond, his shadow dissolving as dawn light began to pierce through the broken windows. The first rays of morning spilled through the shattered windows, turning dust to gold. Laura, Emma, and Jake stood in silence as Daniel's voice drifted from the next room. I never meant for it to go this far. Laura followed the sound and found him by an old drafting table, the same one from his first studio. His hands trembled over a faded photograph. Daniel and Michael Rivers smiling once. You could have told the truth, Laura said softly. It would have destroyed me, he whispered. No, she replied. It destroyed everyone else instead. Daniel looked up, eyes hollow. So what happens now? Laura's voice steadied. You confess. Daniel sat quietly as Laura dialed the police. Tell them what you did, she said. His lips quivered, eyes fixed on the floor. Lie forged the plans, he muttered. I lied. I blamed Michael Rivers. He was innocent. Emma's breath caught. Jake lowered his head. I never wanted to hurt anyone, Daniel continued. But the moment I saw Emma with Jake, it all came back. The guilt, the fear. His voice cracked. I thought if I could control it, I could bury it. Laura's tears fell silently. You can't bury truth, Daniel. It always finds its way home. When the police arrived, Daniel didn't resist. Let me walk out on my own, he said softly. Emma watched from the doorway, trembling. Dad, she whispered. He turned to her, face etched with regret. I'm sorry for everything. She stepped closer, hesitant, then hugged him tightly, tears soaking his coat. I wanted to hate you, she said, but I just wish you'd told the truth sooner. He nodded. So do I. As they led him away, the dawn flared brighter, flooding the broken house with painful, cleansing light. Weeks later, the Mitchell house was quiet. Emma's laughter slowly returned. Faint but real. Laura packed Daniel's things into boxes, pausing at one, the old photograph of Daniel and Michael Rivers. She placed it in an envelope addressed to Jake. When he came by to see Emma, Laura handed it to him. Closure doesn't mean forgiveness, she said softly. But it helps us breathe again. Jake nodded. He'll pay for what he did, but maybe now Emma can heal. As he turned to go, sunlight filled the doorway, and Laura finally felt something she hadn't in months. Peace. One evening, Laura walked alone to the riverside. The water shimmered under the setting sun, calm where chaos once raged. She held Emma's latest photograph, a black and white portrait of the old house, now boarded and empty. On the back, Emma had written, "The truth didn't destroy us. It set us free." Laura smiled, tears glistening. The wind brushed her hair, carrying whispers of closure. For the first time in years, she felt whole. Not because the past was gone, but because she had faced it. The camera of life had finally found its focus again.